Hey, y'all. I am so glad you are here with me today. Before we get into today's conversation, I want to set the tone just a little differently than I usually do. This is not going to be one of those conversations where I tell you to just think positive or shift your mindset in 5 easy steps. That's not what this is going to be. And I am also not going to say something up front because I think it matters. I'm going to say things because I feel like you need to hear it. I feel like I just need to share it. This is just one of those moments, I just have a thought and I just don't need to get on here and record this so I can share it with all of you. I have to first say, though, I am not a certified therapist. I do have many degrees to include a psychology degree, but I'm not here to diagnose you, fix you, or even unpack your childhood. What I am here to do is lead and guide through my experiences. And this is one of those. Through what I have lived, what I have seen, and what I know to be true when leadership is tested. Because mindset is not something you think about when things are easy. It shows up when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when nothing is going the way you planned. That's when mindset actually reveals itself. We've been talking about health and wellness this month, and most people immediately think of eating better, working out, drinking more water. Don't you love that one? Oh my gosh, being in the military, water solves all problems. But the part that sits underneath all of that is mindset, because you can have the best plan in all the world and still not follow through. You can know exactly what to do and still not do it. That is not a knowledge problem. That is a mindset problem. Here's the thing I want you to understand. Mindset is not motivation. Motivation is temporary. It comes and it goes. Mindset is what you fall back on when motivation is gone. This is where I see a lot of leaders struggle. And remember, when I say leaders, I'm talking about people that are in charge of people and things. I'm not just talking about leadership in the military. I am not just talking about senior leaders in businesses. I am talking about human beings that are in charge of people and things. Because as a leader, you're waiting to feel ready, right? You're wanting to feel clear. You're wanting to feel energized. But leadership doesn't always wait for that, does it? I remember being in the Army. Guys know I love my Army stories. But listen, there are days where you're exhausted mentally, physically, and emotionally, and it didn't matter. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I know some parents out there that are listening to this and feel way too close to this. They're feeling like, where does the sleep go anyway? And they're not in the military. As a senior leader, there were still people in my military career that are waiting. We were waiting to see how I was going to respond because that's what happens in leadership. Listen, those are the moments that you don't always get to rise in because of motivation. You default to mindset. Believe it or not, that's what happens. I know you're asking yourself right now, what the hell does that mean, Tracy? Motivation versus mindset. Let's dig into this for a second because motivation is not necessarily how you think and how you process. Mindset is. Mindset is how you think, how you process, how you decide what you're going to show up as, how you show up. The same thing happens in business and in life. Because believe it or not, you are always leading something. I don't care how old you are. There is someone out there that is either looking up to you or watching your actions. You are leading people and things when no one is watching. So I have a whole podcast on it. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it, right? At least you don't always think they do, right? You don't always think people are watching you, but everybody, even children, are watching you. And I'm not always talking about your children, people that you are walking through life. Other people's children are looking up at you, up to you, and looking at how you behave. People at work, in your business, in your team, your family. How about yourself? How many times do you look in the mirror and ask yourself questions? How many times do you counsel yourself? My clients love when I ask that question. How many times do you look in the mirror? And one of my best friends, after I love you to death, she wrote a whole book on mirror work, looking at yourself in the mirror and asking yourself, like physically asking yourself questions, asking yourself, what does this mean? How am I going to react? And what is my behavior when nobody is watching? If your mindset is scattered, you become reactive and sometimes even very inconsistent. It shows up everywhere. It shows up in how you talk to people, how you handle pressure, how quickly you get overwhelmed. And here's the part people don't always want to hear. You don't get to separate your mindset from your leadership. They are the same thing. Before you lead anyone else, you are leading yourself. That's why I brought up the mirror scenario. This is where people skip steps. They want to lead teams. They want to lead the people around them. They even want to be great parents. They want to build businesses, make an impact, but they haven't learned how to regulate themselves, manage their own thoughts, hold consistency, and that creates instability. I've worked with business owners and parents who are incredibly capable, smart, driven, visionary. I know you sit here and you wonder, I talk about business owners and parents, and it is so dynamically different, but really it's the same. So listen to me. When I'm talking to them, I'm talking about their mindset. I'm asking them how reactive or proactive are they? If you've been a client of mine or somebody I've worked with, you know I talk about proactivity versus reactivity all of the time, right? And it's because one bad day, one bad thing can make everything feel like the world is falling apart. One problem causes you to question everything. Why does that happen? When their team feels off or their family feels off. Decisions reflect it. Your business, your work shows it. It's not a strategy issue. Again, it is a mindset issue. Even the best strategists out there don't get that. Mindset is revealed under pressure. That's why I talk about battle-tested leadership methodology all the time. It is why I trademarked the concept. It's why I created it, because mindset and leadership are not built and created from fluff. It is under pressure when things are recognized. It's not when things are calm, not when everything is working so smoothly. We do have those moments, don't get me wrong, but it's because we're prepared from other things in our lives that have happened, from when something breaks, something fails, something doesn't go your way or go the way you expected it to. That's when you find out, are you reactive? Are you grounded? Do you spiral or do you stabilize? Most people actually live in reaction mode, not because they want to, but because they never built the discipline to pause. Those of you that know me, how often do I teach the leaders pause, right? Reaction is fast, it's emotional, it's unfiltered. Intentional leadership is different. It requires awareness and choice. And when you don't train your brain, your body in that, pressure will always pull you back into reaction mode. The battle-tested way is not about avoiding pressure. It's about how you operate when there's no one left in the room, when your back is against the wall. You don't rely on emotion. You shouldn't rely on emotion. You should rely on the structure that you know, that's in that backman belt that you carry around with you, that's in your pocket, to know that you can do this. You have to understand how to slow your thinking down, to stabilize your responses, and so you can make decisions from clarity and not chaos. That is what separates reactive people, reactive leaders, from the leaders and people who can carry weight effectively. I remember a moment, this was very real to me. There was a situation where everything was moving so fast. I like being transparent, guys, so I hope you don't mind me sharing this. Multiple decisions were needed to be made at once. People were looking at me for direction. There wasn't time for me to sit down with my pen and paper and to contemplate my thoughts and think through it perfectly. I could feel it, the pressure to reaction mode, the urgency, the noise, the weight of people that were depending on me. I had to choose in that moment, react fast or pause just long enough to think clearly. The pause in moments, seconds sometimes, is all it takes. And that in that moment, it changed everything. It allowed me to respond with clarity instead of feeding the chaos that was already there, that the people behind me and around me were already feeling. They were looking to me for leadership and stability. That's what people don't always see about leadership. That's not what always causes loud decisions. Sometimes it's the quiet control of not letting pressure make those decisions for you. This is exactly why I created my membership groups. I built my memberships groups. I have 3 of them for different levels of life because mindset is not something you fix all at once. It is something you build through consistency, structure, and guess what? Support. You need a space where you can come in, talk through things, hear different perspectives, and not feel like you're carrying it alone. Let me say this clearly. You cannot work out a poor mindset. You can stay busy, you can stay in movement, but if you're thinking, if your mindset is off, you'll keep reacting to the same problems in the same ways. That's why some people work harder but don't grow, push more but don't move forward, stay busy but actually stay stuck, because mindset drives direction, not effort. Think about this. You've probably had a day where everything felt off. Nothing major happened, but everything just felt harder. You felt shorter with people, less patient, less clear. Can you think of one of those moments? Just pause for a second. Can you think of a moment where you felt that you were attacking people for no real reason? That you were being impatient? It wasn't because the world was changing. It was because your internal state changed. When that happens as a leader, as a human, it impacts everyone around you. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about leadership, not just about being in results. It's about responsibility, responsibility for how you show up, how you lead others, how you take care of yourself. You cannot pour into people if you are not consistently taking care of yourself, if you are consistently depleted. And I don't mean physically, I mean mentally. It's completely different. That's why I'm doing this a little bit differently this month as we lead into May, as we lead into Mental Health Month. If you're not following these things, if you're not listening to that little voice, which is your mindset trying to tell you that you need to recalibrate, I'm opening up my membership groups for a free month. If you join a party of mine that I'm going to have for my membership groups, I'm going to throw the link in my show notes. Don't you worry, because I know sometimes people just need a place to start, a place to think, to process, to grow, not perfectly, but intentionally, having other people around them to hear them, to listen to hear that you're not the only person going through this. Mindset is built through consistency, not intensity. I have membership groups for business owners, for senior managers, for people at home taking care of their children, running their children around from place to place. It is not about having one great day. It's about how you show up when you don't feel like it, when things aren't perfect, when no one is watching. That is where leadership is built. It's not built on perfection. It's built on knowing who you are in the background when no one is watching. So if you're listening to this and you've been feeling off, overwhelmed, or even a little inconsistent, take a step back. Ask yourself, is this really about everything around me, the things I'm carrying? Or is this about how I'm thinking through what's happening? Mindset, again, is not about being perfect. I know this better than anyone. It is about being aware of how you think, how you respond, how you lead others as a human. Because whether you realize it or not, you always get to set the tone in your life, no matter what those people around you make you feel like. You are in control of your own destiny. Please let me tell you this from my own life experiences. You are the one in control of that destiny. If this conversation hits you, I want to give you a place to go to with it. Like I said earlier, I am opening up my membership groups for a free month. If you come to my membership party, no pressure, just a space to grow, to think, to start building this differently. You'll find the links in the show notes that you need to follow me, to download my podcast, and also to join the party. Leadership isn't something you turn on and off. It's how you live, how your mindset enables the foundation of all of it. Take care of your people, take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.